This is a Louis G's wrestling take, and today I'm sharing my thoughts on the events of Monday Night Raw last night, and particularly the ending of the main event, which was the Women's Battle Royal to determine a new Women's World Champion after Rhea Ripley was forced to vanquish the title last week due to injury. And to the shock of pretty much everybody, Becky Lynch is now the new Women's World Champion. She won the Battle Royal after eliminating Liv Morgan, and people are not happy about it. They've already called this the worst booking decision under Triple H. They're saying, "Oh, how is this a new era of WWE when you gave one of your top women's titles to an aging veteran?" People are already even going so far as to call Becky Lynch the new Hulk Hogan of women's wrestling. That she's not putting over the younger talent. She's always making sure playing backstage politics to make sure she always stays on top. Guys, that's out of proportion, because you got to think about this. If Becky Lynch truly is the new Hulk Hogan of women's wrestling and she's not putting over the younger talent, she would have beaten Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 40. Now, people are, of course, going to come at me and say, well, Louis, if that was really the case, then why didn't they have Liv Morgan win the Women's Battle Royale and become the new Women's World Champion? Well, because here's the thing. Liv Morgan just came back after an injury, and, they were already in the process of building Becky and Rhea up for WrestleMania 40 because, let's be honest, that was the big money draw. We had Becky releasing her memoir, Rhea Ripley running extensive heat with the Judgment Day. This obviously seemed like it was the correct choice to have at WrestleMania. It was a point where both women had excessive amounts of heat on them, and it felt like WrestleMania 40 was the time to do it. I mean, some people even thought about doing a triple threat with Becky, Rhea, and Liv. Now, obviously, it looked like they were going to do a feud between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan because, the history of these two, how Liv and Rhea were tag partners before Rhea turned heel on Liv and then later joined the Judgment Day. Obviously, that's not going to happen right now. It's going to be off to the side a little bit with Rhea Ripley's injury, and we don't know how long she's going to be out for. But so now with Liv Morgan now having no one to feud with, doesn't really make sense for her to be built up and instantly win the Women's World Championship. You got to think about this. Becky Lynch is still a major draw for WWE. She's still, to me, one of my favorite all-time women's wrestlers. She had an amazing 2023, teaming with Lita, Trish Stratus, then feuding with Trish Stratus, having great matches with Tiffany Stratton for the NXT Women's title. Then she put over Lyra Valkyria. She was definitely it was definitely a moment of this transitional champion winning a title she's never won before, and then eventually putting over younger talent there. I think this is going to be the same case with the Women's World Championship. Becky Lynch is going to hold on to the Women's World Championship for some time. She might have 1, 2, 3 title defenses here and there, and at the same time, we're going to be seeing Liv Morgan try and build herself back up, because that's what we're seeing with this new Liv Morgan and her revenge tour. We're already seeing her saying, I'm going to take away everything that was so close and valued to Rhea Ripley. That's what we saw happen last night with Dominic Mysterio. I think that this will be a chance for Liv Morgan to really recreate her character and rebuild herself up to eventually take the title off of Becky Lynch, so that when Rhea Ripley does come back, this could lead to a high-profile feud that we could see at, maybe let's say Survivor Series or maybe even WrestleMania. I could imagine that this could lead to a match between these two at WrestleMania 41, because I think, considering that there has been so much history between these two, if the storytelling is done right, then that would be the perfect venue, the place to have this ultimate match. I think having Liv Morgan be the Women's World Champion and face Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania would be a great idea. But until that day comes, we have to have a solid option to hold one of the top prizes in women's wrestling. And, considering that Becky Lynch is still a massive draw for the WWE and, one of the best women's performers in the ring right now. And we also got the WWE draft coming up in a couple weeks, and we don't know where she's going to get drafted. We got to make sure that she's good enough to carry a well put together women's division that has a lot of depth to it and be able to hold the fort down until Rhea Ripley comes back. So I don't think this is a case of Becky Lynch being the new Hulk Hogan of women's wrestling. She's still working a lot to put over young talent. I think she'll be a fine transitional champion for Liv Morgan to eventually take the title off her, so then they can start having her feud with Rhea Ripley when she comes back. And I think that Becky can still do a lot for this business and do justice with the Women's World Championship and still help put over young talent, even if they're not gonna beat her for the championship just yet. This has been a Louis G's Wrestling Take. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and have a good day.